What's going on, guys? Gaston right here. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Leica Q3-43. I've been shooting with this camera since it was ever released, but I never done a video sharing my thoughts on this particular model. I've done a video about the 28, so we're here in New York. Why don't we take this camera for a spin? Let's go. All right, so 43 millimeters, unlike the other version, 28, of course. It's a little bit tighter for me. And that's some of the things that I realized when I pick up this camera, because my focal length is 35. So 35 for me is a happy medium between distortion and getting what I want to compose comfortably. Now with this one, I have to remind myself to back out a lot more. But once again, once you get that in your head, and the 61 megapixel resolution here, I mean, the possibilities are endless with this camera. Now, one of the things that I realized with the Q3 line is that battery life has been improved, I guess, through firmware. Now, I can go the whole day with one battery, no problem. Usually I bring two batteries, but I remember when the first Q3 was released, battery life was really, really bad. I don't know if it's just me or whatever the case may be. Now, another thing is that I turn the camera on and off, always. I know, people tell me you should leave the camera on, but I consider the startup time on this camera fairly fast. I mean, I'm putting this camera against the Leica M11, which is, my main daily shooter, the monochrome, and that camera takes about 5 seconds. So this one does it, in my opinion, really fast. We're gonna be testing the portrait capability. This gentleman is so gentle to let me take his amazing portrait. We're gonna share the picture with him as well. What's your name, by the way?
Pearl.
Gaston, nice to meet you.
Pleasure so much, Mr. Gaston.
Nice to meet you, man. Oh, this looks really good, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Pleasure so much.
You have Instagram? I can share the image with you if you want. Wow, that's a lot of. All right, so I'm gonna take a seat right here, and we are going to discuss shutter speed. All right, so with this camera, pretty much I let the shutter speed rock in auto, especially in a super bright day. And the reason being is because, super bright and the camera is going to pick a fast shutter speed. Now I'll talk about a setting that you are gonna have to go and change there. And that's gonna be the auto ISO. So auto ISO, once again, I let the camera choose the ISO, but I set a minimum shutter speed, and that is so my ISO never uses something lower than 250. So that's my shutter speed. I like to be at 250. And then for certain light situations, I may get control of my shutter speed and set it manually. I like to be at around 2,000, 1,000 in days like this. Now let's talk about the aperture, because the aperture remains throughout the whole day at f11. And the reason being is, well, first of all, I want to reduce the margin of error being at f11. And second of all, I use this camera 80, 90% of the time in manual mode, manual focus. So I declutch the focus ring and I set my distance. Now, one thing that this camera has versus the 28 millimeter, has a much more readable, legible distance scale. So it goes from 0.6 all the way to 4 meter and then infinity. Whereas the 28 is much more narrow. I believe it goes up to 2 and then right away to infinity or something like that. So with this one, you can actually do a pretty good zone focusing method. All right, so let's do a strap check. The one that I have on my Q3-43 is the simple classic round rope by All Crown. Now you're gonna realize that this strap is also squishy. If I show you guys, it's very squishy and comfortable. So for long hours of carry, medium weight camera is gonna be super comfortable. This one that I have here is the 45 inches I can carry across my body like so, and like I mentioned before, wrap it around the wrist. Now if you want to go and check out this strap, go to allcrown.com and enter code CameraFusion10 for 10% off your next order, because Tony is actually filming this video right now. By the way, shout out to my friend Tony from Camera Fusion. He's actually the videographer today, so thank you, Tony.
Don't blame me.
Nope. So what I like to do is also with the screen, I like to scout the scene. So, nothing. I'm gonna go back to f11. And we're gonna come here for a little bit, take a couple of shots. This is just an interesting picture. I mean, kind of like a silly and cliche picture, but I really like how the sky is casting all over the place in these buildings. So kind of like, it looks like the the sky actually continues in the building. That's really nice. But again, not wide enough. See, for this, 28 would have been better for me. Out of curiosity, I'm gonna shoot the same photo with the iPhone with a 28mm lens. Yeah, this is it for this one. I share this photo as well. All right, so let's talk about focusing mode. And there are gonna be two modes that I use in this camera. One is gonna be the field mode, which is the flexible one that you can make small or big. And then the other one is gonna be the cross, which is the spot focusing mode. And with those two focusing mode, pretty much I achieve everything. But when it comes to portrait, I use the spot mode or something like, for example, macro shot. That's the one that I use. Now, this camera has face detection and animal auto focus and all that stuff, but I just don't find it very reliable. And for that reason, I don't even waste my time, because when I'm taking a shot on the street, I want to get that shot, and manually or moving the focusing point is how I achieve my focus. And of course, you know, then declutching the focusing ring, I can acquire focus manually. Do you mind if I capture a portrait of you? Yeah? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, man. I personally like to get along with people. Don't like to piss anyone off. I wouldn't want anyone to come with a camera on my face. And I think that if I don't see them, then it doesn't bother me. And I kind of like take that analogy. Like I was saying before, you know, there are cameras everywhere here. So now the one thing that I do love about all the Q line is that the design of the lens is very much the same design as a manual lens. So you have the distance scale, you can actually see your distance, dial your distance. The aperture is controlled manually because the aperture ring is on the lens. And this is the main reason why I would choose this camera versus maybe a Sony with the latest and greatest, because most Sony lenses don't have aperture rings, don't have distance scale, and the focus is, you know, obviously controlled by the camera itself. And even the manual focus on mirrorless out of focus camera is, you know, it's focused by wire, including this one. But the fact that this one has a design that revolves around a mechanical lens, it makes it kind of like the only one of its kind. So manual focus here, 2 meters, and done. Never once realized that there was a guy reviewing a Q3-43 2 meters away from him. So about 1 meter. Oh. All right, another thing to keep in mind, and this actually came available with the recent firmware, go to Customize Control on page 4. And what I like to do is I like to configure the center button to toggle focus point. What that means, so if your autofocus is there, which it happens a lot of times, you bump it, you press this button, it goes back in the center. Also another way is to tap, but this is a lot easier, just to go here, tap, and recall the center point right in the center of the screen. And last but not least, once you have configured that option, before you turn the camera off, go to User Profile, go to Manage Profile, Save Profile, and this one is my color profile, say yes, because if you don't save this parameter, anything you do in these cameras, you have to save it to a profile. The camera will not remember it. F11. And okay, and this one we're gonna use autofocus.
No. That's you know, gambling is a dangerous addiction.
All right, I love coming here, sitting, standing by for a little bit. Sometimes there's a lot of things going on, sometimes there's not much going on. Entrance of the subway, a lot of things happening there all the time. And obviously a lot of things happening here at the core. So we're gonna spend some time here. We'll post the images.
Oh! You play defense out there.
So let's talk a little bit about metering mode. Which one is the best metering mode? And in my opinion, during the day, I think that center weighted is going to be the most reliable. Usually I'm trying to shoot somewhat around the center of the composition. You have various metering modes, the multi-metering mode. I may switch to multi, you know, during overcast days just to get a more even exposure. Rarely highlight priority. Sometimes when I want to underexpose, you know, silhouettes, I may actually switch to the mode. For the most part, I'm in center weighted. So my friend Omar Robles is here, joining the walk. He's making fun of me because I'm a little bit tired and mumbling. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about these cameras that we have here. Omar, what is your favorite metering mode for the Leica Q3-43 bright day like today?
I think I stay in the highlight priority thing, and then I set it up for like a maximum shutter speed of 1,000th of a second.
Cool, and you like to shoot wide open or you close down the aperture?
For the most part, I try to photograph as open as I can. I don't like to use the electronic shutters.
Cappuccino? We're gonna do some macro pastry photography here. Let's see how close we can get. Just, this is the limit. We're gonna do a little test. We're gonna, once again, 100% manually focus and snap a bunch of portraits. I can't promise quality. Most likely we're not gonna get quality, but we're gonna, you know, I wanna show you guys the accuracy by having this feature, being able to see the distance on the lens, how practical it is. So for example, I'm gonna set it at 0.8 meters, as you can see right now, and I'm gonna try to get as close as possible. People, my shutter speed, I'm gonna crank it up to 1,000 and let it rip. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. So any of the scenes trying to focus 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, and run. That's why for street, I tend to switch 80 to 90% to manual focus, f11, and being able to capture those shots. I don't care about the shallow depth of field. If we're talking about a scene, something that must be captured fast, not even the fastest out of focus is as fast as doing it this way. So in terms of white balance, I always let it rock in auto white balance. And in terms of the color science, you know, a lot of people talk about color science, Leica colors, and even Leica looks. I don't use number one Leica looks. Color science was never a problem for me. I always like to get my own colors, so I find myself that I can achieve whatever I'm looking for in color, although most of my pictures end up being black and white. So for that reason alone, I just don't really care much about the color science of cameras. I think that most cameras these days do a pretty good job. And this camera, I mean, straight out of the gate has really, really nice colors. So we're gonna take a couple of portraits of my friend Omar here, and what I'm gonna do, the first thing is change the focus point from the field to the spot. This one right here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And recompose same way.
Nice. Yeah, the colors are awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's actually perfect. So, just like that, a little quarter angle. Just like that. Yeah, even better. All right, so I'm gonna close out the video saying who is this camera for. And the Leica Q3-43 is much more of an everyday shooter because with this camera, you can actually get very intimate with this object. It's great for portrait. You get a better, shallower depth of field than with a 28mm. So if portraiture and shooting not so wide is your thing, the Q3-43 is a great addition to the Q lineup. I prefer the 28 a little bit better as a more versatile street photography camera, but it's very nice to shoot with a 43. And every time I use it, I tend to capture a lot of portraits with it. I mean, I could be talking about this camera on and on and on. I love it. End of the day, it's just another tool. It has amazing feature. It also has video features, but I never use this camera to film videos up to 8K. So if you're looking for a very solid built-in full frame camera, high megapixel, I don't think it gets any better than the Leica Q3 line. So guys, if you want to check out all crown strap, I'm going to leave a link down in the description. The one that I have with me is the round rope, and enter code Camera Fusion 10 for 10% off on your next order. Supporting my friend Tony from Camera Fusion, who's filming this video. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.